I want to now go across to another special guest who's joining us. Lisa Curtis is the director with the Indo-Pacific Security Program at the Center for New American Security. So the India-EU FTA, it's dubbed as the mother of all deals, Lisa. President Trump continues to threaten higher tariffs on India. The announcement today, how important is this, not just for India and for Europe, but in reshaping India's economic orientation?
Well, first, let me express my congratulations to the people of India on your Republic Day. It's an honor to be on the program on such an auspicious day. With regard to the India-EU trade deal that may be coming up, may be announced soon, I think that this will help give India some leverage in its trade talks with the United States, because what it will show is that India has other options, that Indian traders can export their goods to other nations. So this will, I think, help in terms of the direction of the U.S.-India trade talks, because it gives India some leverage. And also, I think another thing that is contributing to moving things forward with U.S.-India trade talks is the fact that India is, in fact, reducing its imports of Russian oil. There was a reduction last month in Indian imports of Russian oil. So I think, this will help with the U.S.-India trade talks.
I do want to ask you, Lisa, about
forward.
The appending of the global trading order with the Trump tariffs and so on and so forth. Every country has been affected. India's been affected as well. Has that now turned out to be a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it compelled both Delhi and Brussels to diversify their trade partnerships?
Well, I don't really see it that way, because I think India is a very important strategic partner for the United States. And I think that President Trump has mishandled the relationship with India on several fronts. I think on the trade front, I think slapping a strategic partner with 50% tariffs, some of the highest tariffs in the world, that is a mistake. I think India has been an important strategic partner of the United States, and that should not have happened. So I don't really see it as a blessing. I think it's a challenge that now we need to work toward relieving. I think the Trump administration should provide tariff relief to India. And I think it's time for the conclusion of a U.S.-India trade deal. But I think, that's a trade deal where both sides will have to compromise. And my understanding is that India has come forward with a good trade deal for the United States, that it has offered a lot, has put a lot on the table in that trade deal. So I think it's time to conclude that trade deal, and hopes are high that with Ambassador Sergio Gore now there in New Delhi in place, saying a lot of positive things about the U.S.-India relationship, that perhaps there will be a trade deal soon.
So, the one other thing, and this has been brought into sharp focus in the last 5 years or so since COVID, is that the world suddenly realized how much they're dependent on China for reliable supply chains. There was an over-dependence on China. So do you think the India-EU FTA will also reshape the Indo-Pacific supply chains, which are currently heavily leaning on China?
Well, I think it's important for the U.S. to continue to see India as a major trade and investment partner, and particularly when it comes to technology. I mean, we've seen U.S. firms investing in India's AI sector in terms of data centers. And so clearly, U.S. companies see very much an opportunity and the future of technology in India, and see India as an alternative, supply chain for technology. So there's lots of room for U.S.-India continued cooperation when it comes to technology and AI, and I think that will continue. So I think it's up to the Trump administration to recognize that, to recognize all the opportunities, and that India is important when you're talking about developing alternative supply chains to China.
I
And
want to
for
talk a little
those
bit about
reasons,
China
we
because,
will.
India also has a substantial trade relationship with China, again, over $100 billion. There are only three trading blocks that India does over $100 billion trade with. One is China, the United States, and of course, Europe. But it's heavily skewed in China's favor. There's a massive trade deficit as far as India is concerned. Will the India-EU FTA also help increase or the opening up of Indian exports into China, forcing Beijing to import more from India?
Well, again, I think if the India EU free trade agreement is made, as we're all expecting, then I think that does give India more leverage in all of its trading relationships, whether it's the US, China, or any other country. So it gives India options. It shows that India is a global player, an important market. And I think it kind of helps its overall trade outlook. So I think that, we can see this as an accomplishment for India and its trade agenda. Of course, there have been concerns that President Trump will somehow be mad about the India EU free trade agreement. Who knows what he might tweet on social media. But I think, all in all, overall, it gives India leverage in its
Okay.
other trade talks, including those with the United States.
All right. Lisa Curtis from the Center for New American Security, Director of the Indo-Pacific Security Program there. Thank you very much for joining us here on News 18. We'll take a quick break here on the program, but news and updates continue right on the other side of this quick break.